My name is Greg Mady. I'm the Vice President of the Edmonton local CUPW, as well as the President of the Edmonton District Labour Council. That wasn't a pause for applause, but I just wanted to talk to you guys a bit about the history of what we're dealing with here, okay? I've only been with Canada Post for 7 years. In that time, I have seen 3 different delivery methods and 3 different contracts. And guess how many of those contracts were fairly negotiated? No! Exactly. Now, this all goes back to Harper, back in 2011, where we had our, okay. So, what ended up happening was, we were unjustly legislated back to work. Illegally, yes, and we were exactly. We were forced to accept a subpar contract. A contract, in fact, that was worse than the one that was initially offered to us by Canada Post. The next contract we got happened at the beginning of the recession. So guess what? We got told the old heart story about, oh, there's no money, we can't do this, you should be happy, you have a job. And guess what? The majority of us said, okay, fine, we'll take status quo, let's not move on from here. And then, the last time we had a contract negotiations, we were told by the Liberals to sign a status quo contract with the promise of a fairly negotiated contract coming up after that one expires. Guess what happened? Okay, here we are, still waiting for that fairly negotiated contract. As a result, there's been 3 changes in our delivery method, and now we're sitting here and we have yet to tackle the major issues that have come up over the last 8 years. Without a fairly negotiated contract, we have not been able to change our standards with the employer and have not been able to negotiate with the current system in mind. So, why am I here? Well, I'm also an injured worker, okay? I was injured almost 4 years ago to this day. It was December 4th. I went through all the proper means about telling my employer about the dangers on my walk, told 3 separate supervisors. And then eventually, the accident happened. I was in the hospital for a month and it took me a year to recover. I still have aches and pains from my waist down constantly, and I have headaches all the time. Now, what did the employer do after all this was said and done? Well, they certainly didn't say I'm sorry, and they still, to this day, haven't fixed the issue on my walk. Okay? Now, when this corporation tells us they care about health and safety, exactly. There's we'll create a $10 million health and safety fund. The first thing that comes to mind to me is what? So you can hire another 22 vice presidents to sit around and laugh at our concerns?
All talk, no action!
Exactly. I didn't hear all of those, but yes. The bottom line really is that without the right to collectively bargain, we are stuck. We're stuck in the past. It's been 8 years. 8 years since we had a good contract. Well, I shouldn't even say that. 8 years since we had a bargain contract. Right? Yeah. That's pretty much all I actually have now. I had a whole bunch of other stuff to say, but I forget. So, this morning I decided to spend time with my son instead of reading over my notes.